In the complex, high-stakes game of global politics, there's one story that has kept the world on a knife's edge for decades. It's a saga of ambition, deep-seated suspicion, and diplomacy so delicate that one wrong move could lead to catastrophe. I am talking about Iran's nuclear program. And right now, as Iran stands as a nuclear threshold state, the balance has never been more fragile. Welcome to G Fun Facts Online, where today we're unpacking how we got here and what could happen next. The most ironic part of this entire story? Iran's nuclear journey began with the help of the United States. It sounds unbelievable today, but back in the 1950s and 60s, under the Shah, Iran started a civilian nuclear program as part of President Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace initiative. The US and other Western nations were actively helping Iran build nuclear research centers. In 1970, Iran even ratified the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, promising to keep things peaceful. But then came 1979 and the Islamic Revolution. Everything changed. The new regime was deeply suspicious of the West and put the program on pause. What restarted it was the brutal 8-year war with Iraq. When Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons against them, it created a powerful desire in Tehran for a deterrent, something to guarantee their own survival. So the nuclear program was reborn, but this time it was shrouded in secrecy. Throughout the 80s and 90s, with help from figures like the infamous Pakistani scientist A.Q. Khan, Iran quietly built a clandestine uranium enrichment program. That secret was blown wide open in 2002 when an opposition group revealed the existence of hidden nuclear sites at Natanz in Iraq. The world was alarmed. The International Atomic Energy Agency, or IAEA, began a years-long investigation. The US and Europe, convinced Iran was secretly trying to build a bomb, hit the country with a wave of sanctions. Iran has always denied this, insisting its goals are for energy and medicine, but the suspicion was too great. After years of tension and tough negotiations, a historic breakthrough happened in 2015. Iran and the P5+1, that's the US, UK, France, Russia, China, and Germany, signed the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, or JCPOA. It was a diplomatic masterpiece. In exchange for the world lifting crippling economic sanctions, Iran agreed to major restrictions on its nuclear activities. They would limit uranium enrichment, reduce their stockpiles, and allow extensive inspections. The whole point was to extend Iran's breakout time, the time it would take to make enough material for one bomb, to at least a year. And for a while, it worked. Iran complied, and its economy started to recover. But the deal had powerful critics, and in May 2018, the fragile agreement was shattered. President Donald Trump unilaterally pulled the United States out of the JCPOA, calling it the worst deal ever. He then reimposed severe sanctions in a campaign of maximum pressure, hoping to force Iran into a tougher agreement. The other countries in the deal tried to hold it together, but without the US, it was nearly impossible. Feeling betrayed, and with its economy once again in freefall, Iran began to deliberately break its own commitments under the deal, one by one. The consequences have been dramatic and alarming. In the years since the US withdrawal, Iran has sprinted forward with its nuclear technology. It has installed advanced centrifuges that enrich uranium much faster. And most concerning of all, Iran began enriching uranium to 60% purity. For context, the deal limited them to 3.67%. Weapons grade is 90%, so 60% is uncomfortably close, with no credible civilian use. According to recent US intelligence, Iran's breakout time has shrunk drastically. They could now potentially produce enough fissile material for a single nuclear bomb in as little as a week. Now, to be clear, having the material is not the same as having a working, deliverable weapon. That last step, weaponization, could still take Iran a year or two. But it has crossed a critical line. It is now a nuclear threshold state, possessing the know-how and the materials to build a bomb if the political decision is ever made. This has created a new, much more dangerous reality. So where do we go from here? Despite the crisis, diplomacy isn't completely dead. There have been cautious, indirect talks between the US and Iran, often mediated by countries like Oman, aimed at de-escalating the situation. The goal is to find a path back from the brink. But the path is full of obstacles. Israel sees a nuclear Iran as an existential threat and has repeatedly hinted at military strikes to destroy the facilities. Such an attack would almost certainly ignite a massive war in the Middle East, and ironically, could be the very thing that convinces Iran's leaders to abandon all restraint and race to build a bomb as their only guarantee of survival. The international community is walking a tightrope. The challenge is to find a diplomatic solution that works for everyone. It would require incredible political will and a shared understanding that a flawed peace is better than a devastating war. The story of Iran's nuclear program is a stark reminder of the delicate balance between a nation's ambition and global security. As the world watches, we can only hope that this precarious balance tips toward diplomacy, because the stakes for all of us could not be higher.